The unthinkable just happened, Rakim. The man hailed as the godfather of lyrical hip-hop has broken his silence, and his words are aimed directly at Kendrick Lamar. In a shocking twist nobody saw coming, Rakim publicly called out Kendrick, sending shockwaves through the rap community. The clash between a pioneer and the modern king instantly set the internet on fire. Hashtags like hashtag RAKIMV's Kendrick and hashtag GOAT debate over are dominating Twitter and TikTok. Some fans are applauding Rakim, saying it's about time someone challenged Kendrick's untouchable status. Others are outraged, calling this the beginning of a generational war. But one thing is crystal clear. Rakim's words weren't light jabs. They were daggers that could rewrite hip-hop history. Did the legend just shatter Kendrick's throne? Or did he make the biggest mistake of his career? Stick around, 'cause this feud might just be the one that decides who truly deserves the crown. It started with what was supposed to be a simple sit-down. Rakim, the godfather of lyrical hip-hop, rarely does interviews. And when he does, the tone is usually respectful, calm, almost professor-like. He's the man younger rappers call a blueprint, the artist many say invented complex lyricism in hip-hop. So when he appeared on a niche podcast called Legends and Lyrics, fans expected a masterclass in history, not the spark of a generational war. Halfway through the episode, the host asked the kind of softball question that normally gets a diplomatic answer. Rakim, who do you see carrying the torch for lyricism today? Most people assumed he'd praise Kendrick Lamar, maybe add J. Cole, maybe nod to Nas still being active. But Rakim leaned back in his chair, smirked, and said something that froze the room. Everybody keeps crowning Kendrick Lamar as the savior of hip-hop. But to me, I don't see it. He ain't me, and he never will be. The silence after those words was deafening. The hosts blinked in disbelief, unsure whether to press him or let it slide. But Rakim wasn't finished. He leaned closer to the mic and doubled down. Listen, I respect the brother, don't get me wrong. He's talented. But y'all acting like he's rewriting the Bible of rap? He's writing college essays over beats. That ain't the streets. That ain't the hunger. That ain't what built this culture. Without Rakim, there is no Kendrick Lamar. And don't you ever forget that. The internet needed less than 10 minutes to explode. The podcast hadn't even wrapped before clips of Rakim's comments hit Twitter and TikTok. The first viral tweet from @RapCulture101 read, "Did Rakim just end Kendrick?" It pulled 50,000 likes in under an hour. Instagram fan pages like @HipHopTattle and @RapAlert reposted the clip with captions like, "Generational War Begins." Hashtag #RakimSkendrick. Fans instantly divided. Old school heads cheered Rakim on. Comments like the Godfather just reminded y'all who invented lyricism flooded timelines. Younger fans and Kendrick stans clapped back, posting bars from DNA, "Sing About Me," and The Heart Part 5. One viral reply read, "With all due respect, Rakim ain't never won a Pulitzer. Sit down, legend." The hashtags told the story. Hashtag respect the foundation versus hashtag Kendrick the GOAT. Even celebrities jumped in. Ice Cube tweeted, "Respect to Rakim, respect to Kendrick. Hip-hop's big enough for both kings." But wow, J. Cole liked a post defending Kendrick, which fans immediately screen grabbed and spread as proof he was siding with the Compton rapper. Meanwhile, Cardi B, fresh off her own drama with Kendrick, dropped a simple emoji on Twitter. The internet took it as gasoline on the fire, but it was Rakim's follow-up that truly turned this from a spicy comment into a declaration of war. Later in the interview, he said, "Kendrick raps like a professor grading papers. That ain't prophecy. That's academia. The game don't need professors, it needs prophets. And that's what I was, what I am, and what he ain't." The studio gasped. One of the hosts muttered under his breath, "This is history." And history it was. TikTok creators stitched Rakim's clip with Kendrick's music videos, arguing line by line who really carried the torch. YouTube reactors racked up millions of views debating whether Rakim was bitter or just brutally honest. Memes flooded Twitter, Rakim pictured as Michael Jordan sang. And I took that personally. Kendrick edited into a chess master, ignoring the noise. The culture was split right down the middle. OGs were thrilled. Younger fans were enraged. And everyone wanted one thing: Kendrick Lamar's response. But Kendrick said nothing. His Instagram stayed quiet. His Twitter untouched. His camp declined interviews. That silence was both powerful and terrifying, because if Kendrick did decide to answer, everyone knew it wouldn't be on social media. It would be in a verse. Meanwhile, Rakim's words kept echoing. Fans in New York spray-painted murals reading, "Rakim greater than." Kendrick. Fans in Compton clapped back with tags, saying Kendrick equals GOAT. The war wasn't just digital anymore, it was in the streets by the end of the week. The simple interview had turned into a cultural earthquake. Rakim had drawn first blood. Now, the entire hip-hop world held its breath, waiting to see if Kendrick Lamar would stay silent or strike back harder than anyone imagined. The internet didn't cool off, it caught fire. By the morning after Rakim's comments, the entire hip-hop world was locked into a generational showdown. Clips of his podcast rant pulled millions of views overnight. And hashtags like hashtag RAKIMVs Kendrick, hashtag GOAT debate, and hashtag Respect the Foundation trended globally. You couldn't scroll through TikTok without seeing endless debates. On one side, creators layered Rakim's legendary verses from Eric B. as president over black and white edits, captioned, "Without this, there's no Kendrick." On the other side, Gen Z fans clapped back with Kendrick's humble and DNA performances, writing, "Respect the past, but the GOAT is now." Twitter Spaces erupted into all-night battles. One room titled "Rakim was right" had over 20,000 listeners at 3 a.m. Another, "Kendrick greater than Rakim, period," packed with 25,000 D. Turned into chaos as fans screamed over each other, and in the middle of the storm, Rakim refused to back down. In fact, he escalated it. At a small live event in Harlem 2 nights later, Rakim stepped on stage to perform classics. But before he started, he took the mic and addressed the elephant in the room. "I hear the chatter," he said, pacing slowly. "They say Rakim bitter. They say Rakim jealous. Let me tell y'all something, I'm not jealous of nobody. But don't you ever forget, if I didn't break the chains, there'd be no crowns for these new kings." Kendrick got bars, sure, but bars ain't enough. He got the love of the critics, I had the love of the streets, the crowd roared. Phones went up. Within minutes, Rakim's new comments were online, and the chaos deepened. At the Shadroom posted, Rakim doubles down. Questions Kendrick's street authenticity. Hashtag RakimSkendrick at Rap Alert tweeted, "Rakim live, bars ain't enough. The streets made me." Whoa, fans screamed in the comments, "He's right. Critics don't make legends, the culture does." Kendrick's from Compton. He is the streets. Stop reaching. This is wild. Never thought I'd see Rakim versus Kendrick. Then came the insider leaks. A hip-hop gossip page at Industry Leaks 247 claimed that Rakim's camp was preparing a diss freestyle, not a track, but a raw verse he'd deliver on a live platform. The leak said Rakim feels like Kendrick's legacy is inflated. If Kendrick won't acknowledge him, he's gonna force him to. This rumor sent fans into meltdown. TikTok edits popped up with titles like "Rakim Diz Incoming" and dramatic countdown clocks. YouTube live streams with titles like "Rakim About to End Kendrick Live" pulled tens of thousands of viewers just waiting for something to drop. Meanwhile, Kendrick's silence became more haunting. He hadn't posted a word. His team stayed quiet. Even Top Dog Entertainment, usually quick to shut down rumors, said nothing. The silence made fans restless. Some argued it was a strategic move, letting Rakim burn himself out. Others swore Kendrick was in the studio, sharpening his pen. One supposed insider from Kendrick's camp told at Rap Updates HQ, "Don't be fooled. He's writing. If he responds, it won't be tweets. It'll be history." And then the first real crack appeared. A blurry video surfaced on Reddit of Kendrick in the studio. No audio, just him pacing, nodding his head to a beat, scribbling furiously in a notebook. The caption read, "He's cooking." #Kendrick response. Within hours, the clip spread to every platform. Fans lost their minds. If Kendrick drops a diss, it's over. This gonna be bigger than Drake versus Pusha. Kendrick better be careful. Rakim is untouchable, OG. Celebrities couldn't resist chiming in. LL Cool J posted, "Man, this debate got me feeling old and young at the same time. Respect both these giants." Fat Joe said on IG Live, "Love Rakim, love Kendrick. But this is like Ali versus Tyson. How do you even compare?" But some weren't so neutral. Nicki Minaj liked a tweet that read, "It's funny how Kendrick fans cry when the OG tells the truth." Screenshots of the like blew up, with fans accusing Nicki of stirring the pot. Through it all, Cardi B stayed messy. She retweeted a clip of Rakim saying he ain't me with the caption, "And that's on period." Fans screamed Cardi, throwing shade again. Some thought she was still salty from her own drama with Kendrick. The debate was no longer just generational, it was becoming tribal. Old school fans rallied behind Rakim, seeing his words as a necessary reminder to respect the foundation. Younger fans defended Kendrick with religious devotion, pointing to his Pulitzer, his cultural impact, and his fearless artistry. But the wildest twist came when a new leak hit social media. A voice note supposedly of Rakim rehearsing bars. In it, a deep voice rapped lines like, "Pulitzers and papers. Trophies on the shelf. But can you touch the culture when the streets built itself?" Though unverified, fans went insane. The hashtag #RAKIMDiss shot to the top of Twitter. Some swore the voice was Rakim's. Others insisted it was a regenerated to stir the pot. Either way, the damage was done by the end of the week. It wasn't just a podcast clip anymore. It was a cultural earthquake. The OG had thrown stones at the modern king, and the kingdom was trembling. And as the internet begged for Kendrick to answer, one question echoed louder than all the hashtags. If Kendrick finally breaks his silence, will it be a respectful acknowledgement or a lyrical bullet that ends the debate forever? The hip-hop community thought they had already seen the wildest battles the culture could offer. From Jay-Z and Nas's timeless Ether versus Takeover to Drake and Pusha T's brutal revelations. To Cardi B throwing gasoline on anything that moved, fans believed nothing could shock them anymore. But this, Rakim versus Kendrick Lamar, this wasn't just a generational beef. It felt like destiny forcing two titans into the same ring. For days, Rakim's comments replayed on every platform. You couldn't scroll through TikTok or Instagram without stumbling across endless split-screen debates. On one side, Rakim, spitting his legendary Follow the Leader bars. On the other, Kendrick flowing through the Heart Part 5. The captions were brutal. The Blueprint versus the Pulitzer. Prophet versus Professor. Foundation, Bees. Future, then came the shocking twist. A so-called transcript leaked online. Posted by @RapLeaks247. The document claimed to come from a private industry roundtable earlier this year. In it, Rakim was allegedly quoted saying, "Kendrick ain't the heir. He's just the moment. Stop acting like he's the blueprint." Screenshots of the supposed transcript tore through Reddit and Twitter like wildfire. TikTok creators began performing dramatic readings of it over beats, their clips pulling millions of views in hours. Fans argued endlessly in the comments. Some believed the transcript was real, a glimpse into how Rakim had been quietly feeling for years. Others insisted it was fake, AI-generated text designed to stir chaos. But the damage was done. Rakim looked less like a respected OG speaking his truth and more like a bitter legend resenting his successor. Younger fans mocked him without mercy. "Grandpa mad, we moved on." #LetItGoRakim. Respect the foundation. But Kendrick's Pulitzer greater than any podcast rant. This just feels sad. Rakim salty at the wrong time, But Rakim's loyalists swung back just as hard. Don't forget who invented this. Without Rakim, there's no Kendrick. Kendrick speaks for critics. Rakim spoke for the streets. The GOAT is allowed to talk. If you don't like it, close your ears. The feud was no longer just generational, it was ideological. Street authenticity versus critical acclaim. Prophecy versus academia. Survival versus symbolism then. The first bombshell reveal hit during an Instagram Live, legendary producer Pete Rock let something slip. With a sly grin, he told viewers, "Y'all don't even know half the story." Rakim and Kendrick already had words before. This ain't the first time tension popped off. Fans nearly fainted. Could it be true that Rakim and Kendrick had clashed behind closed doors long before this podcast moment? Old Kendrick interviews resurfaced almost immediately. In one, he respectfully said, "Rakim is one of the greatest. But every generation has to push past the last." For years, people read it as admiration. Now, with Rakim's fury on the table, fans reread it as shade, a sly jab masked as respect. The memes came instantly. One showed Rakim holding a crown saying, "Push past this." Another edited Kendrick into Game of Thrones. Captioned the heir who defied the king as the speculation spun out of control. The next escalation hit even harder. A 20-second audio leak surfaced on Instagram, posted by @HipHopTDaily. The voice in the clip sounded eerily like Rakim, dropping venomous bars over a stripped-down boom-bap beat. Crowns pass down, but the thrones stay the same. "You chasing titles, I created the game. They call you conscious, but your pen just complains. Spoke for profits. You just entertain." Whether the clip was real, fake, or AI generated didn't matter. The internet treated it as gospel. The hashtag #RAKIM diss track shot to the top of Twitter within hours. TikTok filled with reaction videos, some fans clapping, some gasping, some shaking their heads in disbelief. Older heads praised the venom. "That's the Rakim we know, sharp, deadly, untouchable." Younger fans dragged it as outdated. "This sounds bitter, not legendary." Kendrick would end him in 12 bars. Even hip-hop veterans couldn't stay silent. KRS-One tweeted. This conversation was coming. Legends versus legends. Salute both. Questlove posted, "Careful what you wish for. This battle might break the culture in half." LL Cool J commented, "Man, I love both these brothers. But this debate feels different." Heavy still, Kendrick remained silent. No tweets, no lives, not even a cryptic emoji. And somehow, that silence grew scarier every day. Fans turned the silence into a meme factory. Kendrick meditating like a monk with captions, preparing the scrolls. Kendrick as a ticking bomb labeled response loading. Kendrick's face photoshopped on Thanos. The caption reading, perfectly balanced. As all beefs should be, but then came the moment fans thought they were waiting for. At a live show in Los Angeles, Kendrick performed The Heart Part 5. Midway through, he stopped the music. The arena fell quiet. He looked out into the crowd and dropped one line that shook the room. "Legends should teach, not compete." The crowd exploded. Phones shot up. The clip spread across the internet like wildfire. Some swore it was a direct jab at Rakim that's aimed at him. 100%. Others argued it was pure respect. Kendrick telling Rakim he's too great to beef. The ambiguity only added gasoline to the flames. Rakim wasted no time stoking them further. Hours later, he posted an Instagram photo of himself in the studio, mic in hand with a single caption, dot. The comments section went nuclear. "Diss track loading. Here we go. Please, Rakim, don't do it." According to insiders whispering to at Industry Insider Buzz, Rakim had indeed recorded a full diss track. One source claimed it's not coded, it's not metaphorical, it's direct, names and all. Another suggested it was meant to drop within days, depending on how Kendrick moved. But Kendrick wasn't staying still either. Fans spotted him booking late-night studio sessions with Terrace Martin and Thundercat, two of his closest collaborators. Photos leaked of Kendrick pacing with headphones, scribbling furiously in a notebook. The caption on one fan post read, "He's sharpening the sword." The entire culture braced itself. This wasn't just a debate anymore. It was the making of a hip-hop earthquake. OGs were thrilled, ready to see Rakim reclaim his throne. Younger fans were hungry, daring Kendrick to bury the legend. Everyone else? They just wanted to watch history explode in real time by the end of that week. One truth was clear. Rakim had crossed the Rubicon. Kendrick had hinted at war. And the rest of the world demanded one thing: drop the tracks. Because if both men went all in, which this wouldn't just be another rap beef. It would be the moment that rewrote the legacy of two eras and maybe even tore hip-hop apart. By the time Kendrick's Cryptic, Legends Should Teach, Not Compete line shook Los Angeles, the feud wasn't just a trending topic anymore. It had evolved into a cultural earthquake ripping through every layer of hip-hop. Fans weren't just debating lyrics. They were questioning history, rewriting hierarchies, and choosing sides like it was life or death. The mainstream media dove in headfirst. Rolling Stone plastered the headline, "Rakim versus Kendrick, is the GOAT debate over?" The New York Times weighed in with hip-hop's generational war reignites. Bet ran a segment comparing Rakim's prophet of the streets narrative to Kendrick's professor of the people persona. On social media, hashtags multiplied like wildfire. Hashtag RAKIMVs Kendrick. Hashtag GOAT debate. Hashtag Foundation V's future. TikTok edits now included street murals on one wall in Brooklyn. Graffiti screamed Rakim greater than all. On another in Compton, fresh paint declared, Kendrick saved rap. But things got darker. A viral Reddit thread claimed Rakim's diss track wasn't just in the works. It was finished, mastered, and sitting on a hard drive. The post read, "I got a cousin who engineers at a studio in Queens." Rakim went all the way. He calls Kendrick by name. It's brutal. Screenshots of the post spread everywhere, even though nobody could verify it. Fans started countdown clocks, praying and panicking about when or if Rakim would drop it. Then came the leak that nearly broke the internet. At Rap Culture Buzz uploaded a 15-second clip, muffled. Grainy, but the voice was unmistakable. Rakim, his tone sharper. Darker, angrier than fans had ever heard. Pulitzers don't make prophets. Critics don't crown kings. The streets wrote the scripture, "I created these rings." Call yourself savior, but you pray for acclaim. I built an empire while you just play the game. The video hit 5 million views in 2 hours. Fans screamed, "This is nuclear." Kendrick can't stay silent now. Why is he so pressed? He sounds bitter af, legendary. This is what rap needed. Even celebrities reacted in real time. 50 Cent commented on the post with a laughing emoji and the words, "Old heads still dangerous." Drake liked a tweet reading, "Kendrick's throne, shaking RN." And Jay-Z, usually silent, reportedly told a private group chat later leaked by @IndustryT, "This beef could change everything. Careful what you wish for." Meanwhile, Kendrick's silence only grew louder. He hadn't tweeted in days, but paparazzi caught him leaving a Los Angeles studio at 4 a.m. Hood up, face stone cold. TMZ ran the photo with the headline, "Kendrick cooking response." Fans swore he was writing the deadliest verse of his career. Then came the wildest twist yet. Kendrick's camp allegedly sent quiet warnings to media outlets, urging them not to amplify Rakim's leaks. According to @InsiderHipHop, one exec claimed, "Kendrick don't want this to be gimmicks. He wants it to be lyrical. If he responds, it won't be leaks. It'll be something permanent." This only fueled the fire. Fans begged for something permanent. Comment sections turned into battlegrounds. "Drop it, Kendrick. End him. Silence is strength. Don't stoop to this." If he doesn't respond, Rakim wins by default. And then, the industry started to fracture. Reports surfaced that Rakim had been offered a huge bag to perform at a festival themed around hip-hop legends versus new kings. The headliners? Rakim and Kendrick back-to-back. Fans couldn't believe it. Some thought it was genius. Others called it exploitation. But insiders whispered that Kendrick's camp was already considering pulling out, not wanting to cheapen a potential lyrical war by turning it into a marketing stunt. Meanwhile, more leaks swirled. A supposed text exchange surfaced, allegedly showing Rakim telling a confidant, "If Kendrick don't answer, he's finished. If he does answer, I'll bury him." Though impossible to verify, the screenshot spread like wildfire, with fans calling Rakim ruthless. By now, ordinary hip-hop debates had morphed into a loud generational war. Radio stations dedicated entire hours to callers screaming about Rakim versus Kendrick. Podcasts across Spotify and Apple devoted emergency episodes. Even CNN invited a hip-hop historian to explain why this feud mattered. But nothing compared to what happened on Twitch. A streamer with 50,000 live viewers staged a battle by playing Rakim's leaked bars against Kendrick's older tracks. The chat went insane, spamming goat emojis, flame emojis, and clown emojis, depending on their side. Clips of the Twitch session hit Twitter, amassing millions of views. It was clear this wasn't just music anymore. It was culture, identity, pride. Rakim stoked the fire even more. In a rare tweet he posted, "Y'all said I was too quiet? Y'all forgot who built the mic. Stay tuned." The internet exploded. Fans screamed, "Oh my God, he Buddha dropped the diss. Kendrick better wake up before it's too late." This is history unfolding. And then, just as fans thought they couldn't take any more suspense, an even bigger bombshell dropped. According to a Rolling Stone journalist who tweeted and deleted minutes later, Kendrick had booked studio time in New York for 3 nights straight. The same studio. The very one where Nas recorded Ether. The tweet was screenshotted and reposted everywhere. Fans screamed, Kendrick about to drop an Ether of his own. The tension was unbearable. Rakim hinting at a diss. Kendrick rumored to be crafting a reply. Fans split, brands nervous, and the entire industry holding its breath. And then came the cliffhanger. Late one night, Uplert tweeted, confirmed, a major diss record is dropping this week. Not rumors, not leaks, a full track. The culture is about to shift. The tweet gained over 300,000 likes in 6 hours. Fans camped online, refreshing feeds, waiting for history to unfold. Nobody knew if the track would come from Rakim, Kendrick, or both. But everyone knew one thing. The next 72 hours could change hip-hop forever. And now, the entire world waits. Rakim has fired his shots, leaked verses have rattled the internet, and whispers of a full diss track have the culture on edge. Kendrick Lamar, the man of silence, has been spotted in studios tied to legendary beefs, leaving fans to wonder if he's about to unleash the deadliest response of his career. This isn't just a clash of artists. It's the collision of 2 eras, the streets versus the critics, the foundation versus the future. Will Rakim drop his nuclear diss and cement himself once again as the godfather of hip-hop? Or will Kendrick respond with a masterpiece that silences all doubt and ends the debate once and for all? One thing's certain, history is unfolding before our eyes. Hit that subscribe button, smash the like, and turn on notifications, because the next chapter in this war is going to shake hip-hop forever. Shake hip-hop forever.